Hello and welcome to the Ambistream Media Future podcast. I'm Michael Fiorentino, founder of Ambistream. In this podcast, we'll share ideas about the future of media, tech, AI, and a little bit of Web3. We'll look at user habits and trends, and I'll share updates on what we're building and featuring as a company, giving you a behind-the-scenes look at the ideas turning into reality with just enough chaos to keep it interesting. In today's episode, we'll go over 10 predictions about how the media world is changing rapidly. It's like we're jumping ahead a few years and we're calling out the trends that we're seeing. These predictions are not super scientific, but they do come from a lot of research, conversations, and observations over the year, and they paint a picture of how technology and creativity will shape the next era of media. This is a bit of an experiment on our first episode. Instead of deep diving into one topic, we're going to skim the surface of 10 trends that I think will define the future of media. If something sparks your curiosity, stick with this series because we'll cover many of these ideas in depth later. All right, let's jump in. Prediction number 1. Most AI creations will not age well. So AI-generated content is already flooding the market, and there's a certain style, this default version of what AI engines create that look like clip art, pretty much. The worst of them will be cheap, forgettable junk, things that scream 2024. And I'm saying that because I know it's already 2025, but 2025 is going to already look different. AI video is looking good, but to pass our taste test, it has to be more of a tool between humans with a stronger vision. The irony is that in 20 years, this style of media is going to look cool, kind of like Vaporwave. Prediction number 2, the hidden cost of creativity will go public. Every piece of digital media takes energy to create, and in the future, you're going to see the environmental cost up front. Something like, this AI generated film consumed X consuming credits or trees or gallons of water or whatever. And yeah, it'll be a corporate greenwashing incentive and some goal to make consumers feel bad when it's really the companies that are driving this consumption. But in general, I think it's better to know so that you don't act wastefully on purpose. This will help a lot more people demand more efficient tech and encourage energy-conscious creativity. But there's always going to be people who ignore the impact because that's what we do. Prediction number 3, provenance will be ingrained into everything. So provenance, Provenance, is a term that's used in the media and art world, and it refers to tracing the history and origin of a piece, how it's been modified, and also who's contributed to it. It was originally a way to prove authenticity for artifacts and paintings, and in today's media world, creators are credited and compensated, and it enables transparency and fair use across industries. In the future, every piece of media is going to have a traceable history. Provenance will show where a piece of content came from, how it's been remixed or modified, and who contributed to it. So imagine being able to see the entire life cycle of a digital painting or track how your favorite meme evolved from an obscure image into a viral phenomenon. This also means that creators will finally get proper attribution and compensation for their work. So systems like blockchain or secure cloud storage will make it possible to track the usage while protecting rights. This level of provenance lays the groundwork for new monetization models like fractional ownership or tokenized licensing, which we'll talk about later. And it's also just a way for fairer ecosystems to exist and a lot more creative possibility. Prediction number 4, ads will learn to behave. So I worked in the ad industry for about 10 years in New York City, and Mad Men's my favorite TV show. But I think ads have a problem, and that's that they're just not good. They're loud, they're disruptive, they feel like a punishment. We have to endure them. People can't wait to hit the skip ad button, or a lot of people use ad blockers. But in the future, there's potential for ads to become more subtle and respectful. Instead of interrupting your experience, they could blend into content in more subtle ways. So I'll give you an example. If we're watching a travel channel and somebody's walking through a forest, there could be some shot of a hiking boot making an imprint on the ground, and there could be something like a logo there to let you know that it's an ad, but it doesn't pull you out of the moment. These are the kind of ads that don't beg for attention. They sort of fit in naturally and add to the experience. And so the idea is that you can engage with it when you see it, and it's kind of this mix between brand and direct response. Okay, prediction number 5. TV channels and social media feeds will look like 2007 again. Channel surfing is back, and it's because we have way too many services and payment plans and apps that we have to jump in and out of. And we spend too much time searching for new things when we don't know what we want to watch. So we need personalization, but we also want to have updated interfaces. But the idea is that they'll be like retrovise, is that a word? So that you could skim through the content quickly from different places. So ideally, it's more discovery, serendipity, and less doom scrolling and addictiveness that's been programmed. So a big part of that is because people will be able to more easily influence their algorithms instead of the big tech companies forcing their mysterious rules on them and keeping it a secret. So, like I said, the front end might look like a throwback, but the back end is where this glow up is happening. I'm always thinking about cross-device multi-layered streaming, and we'll dive deeper into that in another episode, but that's the general idea. Retro in the front, sophisticated in the back. Prediction number 6, ads and subscriptions will blur together. So right now, I usually pay for a freemium product. So it's free, but with bad ads interrupting, or it's a premium subscription. We're starting to see that some streaming services are giving more options for either a lot of ads, a mix of ads with subscriptions, or no ads, but you pay a lot more. And now Amazon Prime is forcing you to see ads, even if you have a subscription, because they like money. So here's where I think it's going to go next. The wall between ad-supported and subscription content will break down. It'll be more like a customizable cable TV package where you mix premium shows with mid-tier content and even user-generated content that pays the creators directly. That opens up more complicated pricing structures, and so the media industry will need to create or adopt new ways to calculate this. Something like media credits that can be exchanged back and forth and it'll be fractionalized too. We'll talk about that later because that's a different prediction. Okay, prediction number 7, the relaunch of Web3. So Chris Dixon's Read Write Own describes Web3 as the evolution of the internet where users aren't just blind consumers that are reading content, and they're not just writing content like we do in social media, but they also control digital assets, data, and platforms, and it's decentralized. So Web3 talks about technologies like blockchain, smart contracts, decentralized wallets, and other tools. The general idea is to have more ownership, transparency, and control in these digital environments. It's kind of how the internet was made in the first place. So the first wave of Web3 had a rough start. Crypto had a bad reputation because of all the hype and the scandals. Web3 builders never really stopped, though. They've been working, and the laws are now changing in their favor. And the biggest challenge with Web3 is just really a user experience issue. A lot of it is just clunky and not pretty. So that's going to change. And here's why Web3 is good. So it's centralized. It's moving beyond just one company's platform controlling everything. And people are almost ready for that. Most social sites right now rely on creators giving their content away for free or being way underpaid. And this is what we could change with Web3. So there's new and mainstream platforms that will probably integrate with easy-to-use Web3 wallets for identification and transmitting funds. And some will be like a terrible Black Mirror episode, and others will find a way to integrate the positive benefits of transparency and privacy and merging that with Web3 without overstepping. So we need to find the sweet spot between security, user experience, and sustainability, and that is what will give Web3 this upgrade and reboot. Prediction number 8, long form and analog media will become a luxury. We're losing our ability to focus. I can barely sit through this 7-minute video. It's hard to watch a 2-hour movie without checking your phone. So we just covered how people will curate their digital worlds to reflect how they want to feel, but we also need to actively repair our brains and attention spans because we no longer have the ability to sit through all these things. So the bet here is that a growing intentional group will actively plan a percentage of each week dedicated to literature, long movies, printed lifestyle magazines, graphic novels, and deep dive documentaries. And it's just really a way to slow down the brain. We already see this happening for people who like to walk on the grass without their shoes on, or jump in cold plunge pools and saunas, or raw dogging on airplanes. Anything that slows you down so you have to immerse yourself with real stories or real life on a deeper level. Prediction number 9, the remix renaissance. Remix culture will explode and AI tools will make it easier than ever to remix and reimagine content legally. This one relates to Provenance, which is what we discussed as prediction number 3. So imagine a non-canon version of your favorite movie created by fans with the studio's blessing. So this is about creating new branching versions that explore alternative possibilities for content that's already been made. So most fan-made remixes and mashups exist in this legal gray area. The big barrier to this is that studios currently hold the IP for all of these. We already see parodies being created online, but these sit in fair use defense and legal gray areas. The prediction is actually more about allowing a branching version of the media that is specifically non-canon to be allowed to exist and even monetized differently than the original. So this will most likely start with content created by independent creators and cultural institutions, then it'll move into mainstream TV and film. So it'll be fun and messy to watch these remixes. They'll go from slapstick mashups to deep reinterpretations, and a few works will actually stick out as an evolved form, and they'll be celebrated as a different form of storytelling. So I'm looking forward to the world where everyone can participate in rewriting these stories that they love, but it's done in a way that preserves the originals in their own category. Okay, last prediction. Prediction number 10. Physical and digital worlds will merge, and XR will bridge the gap between the real and digital worlds. So, extended reality is an umbrella term that includes virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. With VR, you're wearing a headset and it feels like you're fully in a digital environment, like a video game. Augmented reality is more about adding digital elements to your real world view. So it's like seeing Pikachu on your desk when you're in Pokemon Go and you're watching it through your phone or your like glasses or something. And then there's IoT, Internet of Things, where devices like your smartphone, watch, your speakers, and your car all connect and share information and make your life a little more blended. These devices will get less obtrusive over time. And I think that what we're actually going to see is a lot of people that live in more blank minimalist home spaces where there's digital projections playing around them and people can carry these custom digital physical projections wherever they are. So there'll be less physical clutter and there'll be more digital curation. And hopefully our homes will have a few well-crafted pieces of furniture and real art for the digital projections to play around. One of the cool things is that XR can connect people in new ways. People could attend virtual concerts, hang out with friends across the globe, or go on a virtual museum together. So if you were to imagine like we had a virtual library here, it'd be on the wall, it would be interactive, you could reach out, touch a book, open it up, start reading. You'll basically be able to have that environment be portable with you. It's really more about your state of mind and choosing the surroundings that are around you. We are now wrapping up our 10 predictions about the future of media. Some of these changes are already happening and others are going to take a lot more time to reach the mainstream. The one thing is I hope we can hold on to our critical thinking skills and make sure that these technologies are being used ethically and responsibly with safeguards for privacy and mental well-being. So hopefully this helps you to prepare for an exciting and slightly scary future of media that lies ahead. Thanks for listening to these 10 predictions on the future of media. In this podcast, we plan to cover a lot of these items and share our journey as we work to build out some of these solutions. This podcast is for informational purposes only and reflect personal opinions, not professional advice or guarantees. Ambistream is an early stage startup and we are actively exploring partnerships and funding opportunities, but this content does not constitute an offer to sell or a solicitation to buy securities. If you're interested in learning more about what we're building, please reach out to me directly for a conversation. This is the Ambistream Media Future podcast, and I'm Michael Fiorentino. Thanks for listening.